In 2014, you shook the world with bobbleheads. I see that in 2015, you made the Inc. fastest growing companies. I think you were 74 in the country.
74 in New York. 74 in New York.
Oh, I thought it was reversed.
Oh, it might have been 74 in the country, 4 in New York. But we had
Yeah.
we did well that year, yes.
Yes, exactly.
Great growth.
Yeah, I'm wondering what your life was like during that period of time, having so much growth in such a fun industry.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting story. I've been doing bobbleheads for probably 15 years with my father. He comes from the promotional business. So when he was, transitioning out of that, probably at least at least 10 years ago, if not more, probably 12 years ago, we started doing bobbleheads, but we then had another partner that we had met, Stu, and we started doing custom bobbleheads. Mm-hmm. And, the explosive growth really came when we went on to Groupon. So we did one of these promotions where it was literally, you can get a bobblehead that's normally $150, $170 for $79.99. And we had forecasted about 2,500 orders, and I think we had gotten at least 15,000. So we literally were not able to produce them quick enough. It was actually a little bit damaging to the brand. Because today's, obviously this is probably 7-8 years ago, right, with the ability not to deliver on time or the customer service. I mean, we really couldn't. It was your biggest, nightmare come true in a good way and a bad way, because we couldn't even field literally 700-800 emails a day with inquiries or status reports. It was just very overwhelming. But like any good entrepreneur, we figured it out, we pivoted, we iterated, we got the right systems in place, the right process, the right people. And then, in 2014, we started getting licenses. So started acquiring licenses with the NHL, then the WWE, Betty Boop, Popeye, professional bull riding. And as a diehard Grateful Dead fan my whole life, was able to get the Grateful Dead license. And, we manufacture anywhere probably from 300 to 500,000 plus bobbleheads, a year. So, it's a different type of stress from the digital marketing company. My dad and I, our biggest stress is whether you're making a game day for a promotional giveaway. They're giving away 10,000 bobbleheads at a stadium, down to a wedding. It could be someone's bridal party, and they're waiting for the bobbleheads for the cake topper or the people in the party. So whether you're moving 100,000 or 10, it's kind of, I've learned logistics, not because I've wanted to, but because you had to. But it's a great business. I love, people have said to me, like, you sold your company, you can do anything. Why are you making dolls? Like, what are you making dolls for? But when people come to you, if you think about almost every major brand, as I look around my office, from Fruit Loops, every major cereal, every gas station, every tire company, a bobblehead has been made. And when people come to us, this week we're making bobbleheads of the grandson of Jim Beam, Fred No. We've done for Google with the founders of Salesforce, Jolly Green Giant, Pink Panther, 10,000 bobbleheads. So when someone comes to you with an idea, and we can then create it, and then you all of a sudden start to see on social media or on pictures your creation all over the place, I find that heartwarming. So, so that's been a fun venture, and working with my dad's great too. He's in his early 70s, and the ability to be able to work with him on projects and for him to understand the industry is a great thing.
It's a great gift. It's a great gift.
It is.
I'm wondering, who was the most interesting person you've ever done a likeness for?
Well, we make bobbleheads from 4 inches to life size. So we've actually made a life size Hulk Hogan bobblehead, 6 feet, 4 inches. And growing up, I was a big WWF at the time wrestling fan. So my bar mitzvah theme was like WrestleMania in 1986. So to be able to make bobbleheads of Hulk Hogan for his restaurant in Florida, again, was like, a dream come true. So that was interesting. But we've made, a lot of entertainers, Michael Jackson, little Uzi Vert with face tattoos and piercings, to famous dogs that have 3 million followers on Instagram. No joke. We've made, so that's why I love the challenge. People say, can you make this? And we say, of course, we can pretty much make anything. And, some really take off, and, we can sell tens of thousands of units of a great design.
That's fantastic. So when did you realize that the pandemic was going to put a crimp in your style in terms of being able to deliver for some of these major events?
Yeah, so those that do business overseas know with Chinese New Year, which is typically, end of January, beginning of February, I was just wrapping up a couple of trade shows in Vegas. I was at Sports Licensing and Tailgate, and I started to see at our factories overseas that people weren't coming back from Chinese New Year's, or that the pandemic was starting to impact the people that we work with overseas. So I kind of knew something was up when they started saying that they couldn't deliver or they couldn't leave their towns to get back to the areas of the factory. So that was probably February or March. So even before we shut down, my productions were getting shut down. Mm-hmm. And then as we were really tightening up here, everything was kind of loosening up overseas. And they were like, all right, we're ready for orders. Mm-hmm. I'm like, there's no games, there's no giveaways, there's no one's going out in public. Mm-hmm. But I started to see a shift. So that business dropped, drastically. But more people are home shopping. So the license sales of people buying, for themselves as fans, or gift giving, people were buying more of the onesie twosies, if you will, versus the promotional side. But that business got hit pretty hard. We had, one MLB order for like 18,000 pieces that they had to cancel before we went to production because they weren't going to have the game.
You're watching Opportunity Calls with Ellen Volpe, presented by ABA, American Business Associates. To learn more about ABA, visit aba-ny.com.